Hi, Natchapon. Nice to meet you. I'm Anna. I'm an animator and supervisor with Agora. And today I have the absolute pleasure of taking a look at your shot. Congratulations on being the AnimChallenge winner. It's so well deserved. The shot is so fun. I think I've watched it probably like 100 times. I'm just gonna talk to you about all the things I love about it that I think works so well. And then as I was watching it, I, picked up a couple little polishy things that if you're interested in, taking your polish a tiny step further, then I'm just gonna give you my 2 cents on a couple things. But I just think it's awesome. So let's take a look together and I'll go through everything with you. Okay, so I love how dynamic this shot is. Let's watch it together first. Cool. Okay. I love how dynamic this shot is. I love that you are playing with, so much back and forth to camera. This part is so fun. You're really doing it a lot. Like you've got a lot of really, really good engagement, coming close to camera. And you also, in terms of dynamics, have moments where there's some stillness and then all of a sudden there's a lot of movement. So like, relatively still and then big move here and then relatively still, big move. And then you've got like a lot of variance in this area. And then he's kind of still again. And then you've even added this like extra spin in here, which I think is so fun. This part at the end, I particularly love how we are just seeing the wristband colors of the turtles. So it feels very, it feels very like Turtles iconic, and the fact that they're grabbing for this pizza. And I don't know if you added this sound effect in there, but the way that they're picking up this like very sloppy pizza with the sound that's in there is just so perfect. I love the burp too. So I think everything is working. Everything is working so well. It's just such a fun idea that you've had and executed so well. One of the other parts that I just found so cool was this. It's almost like you've added a middle shot into your sequence, but it's like part of the same transition. So I know he leaves frame and comes back in. So it kind of is a second shot, but the transition that you have is so cool in here. Even like all the moving background stuff is so cool. And then he comes, back down to reality, but we know that it all happened in the same space there. So it's just really fun. It's such a great idea. And it's a way to like break up what would ordinarily be a long shot to make it feel like a series of shots and like taking him into this other depth of, the world that he's in. I just think is such a great idea. Just a couple of things as I'm looking at this beginning part here. There's probably a little bit more you could do. Like, I think the laugh feels great, but we have this shell belly here that's moving like quite a bit and up until like this point here, and then everything below this point, including, everything below this point here, including his fingers, I feel like they're just a touch still compared to how much we see that like jiggle in the chest and shoulders, which I love. I think like the laugh's working and reading really well. But that's just something I feel like I don't know the limitations of the rig that you're using, so it might not be possible, but even if we had some residual movement like down in this part of the shell here, or we saw it in the shell in the belt or something. And I think you could add a little bit of like finger squeeze in there. Again, these are just like very, very tiny things, but given that I watched it so many times, eventually I picked up a couple of suggestions. So that's one thing. Again, I don't know the limitations of your rig, but while he's laughing and when I feel like there are moments where you could play with his eye mask a little bit. Again, I don't know if your rig allows for that. I think you're doing a great job getting around the fact that it doesn't move by like lowering his head and stuff. We're still getting like a little bit of variance in that white shape here of his eyes. So we do sometimes have the illusion that he's changed his expression in the eyes, but I feel like if you have the rig capacity there, you could play around with adding some compression in there, especially during the laugh, and when he comes down into these moves before he jumps, and anywhere where he's exerting, I feel like you could play around with a little bit of compression in the eyes. But again, I'm not sure if that is something that your rig allows for. Just a thought there. Let's see. There was one thing in the laugh, and again, I don't know if so I hear him like laughing along with let me turn the audio back on. I hear him laughing along with the audio. This last one here, I feel like he closes his mouth just a little bit too early. Like he's in this part here, I feel like his jaw would still be open. On that last ha before the ha, that last ha I feel like takes place while his teeth are closed. So that's just another small thing. And the reason I'm not sure if your intention is to follow all the audio directly is because there's some sections in here where it still sounds like he's making sound, but I don't see that he's moving his mouth in there. So let me just point those out. So here, if his mouth is lowering, it's hard to see it just because his head is down. And then this one, this move especially because we see him pause for a second, which I think is great, again, in terms of like the dynamics of the shot. You have all these moments where he's like in a fury and in a frenzy, and then pauses so that we can, the audience can catch up and get a read on him before he zips away again. So I think that's all so awesome. This one here, I feel like it might be an opportunity to like maybe lower this arm just a touch so that we could see that his mouth is open here. If that's your intention to open the mouth for that, like yeah, like all the hi-yahs in this part. If it's not, then that's totally fine. But I feel like specifically in this middle section, I'm missing moments where I'm not sure if the intention was to just have the audio over top of it, or if we're actually supposed to be reading him opening his mouth in those parts. This one too, because it happens behind the pizza. I just don't know if it doesn't look like you're opening his mouth. So again, that might not be your intention, but it does. I feel like because he's laughing with the audio at the beginning, it jumps out a little bit that he's not, we don't see his mouth open in some of these areas in here. But again, I don't think it's totally necessary. Just something I wanted to point out. I love the way that he takes the pizza box off his back and unfurls it. Like I just think you've got like so many great ideas in one sequence here. And I love that the pizza falls after, and that he's like very still here. So we're like waiting and we don't know why. And then the pizza falls. It's such a great idea. This spin that he does here, like I was saying earlier, is just like extra icing on the cake. The one thing I would watch out for is the way that his feet kind of, this splay sort of happens independently right after you know, and then it feels like that, his toes coming together kind of happens independently of the foot moving. So just because he's otherwise still, it feels a little odd that we start to see these toes moving without the rest of the foot moving. And then this spin that he does here, I really love. I wonder if maybe it needs to happen either more specifically on the heel or the ball of the foot rather than right through the middle of the foot. So I would either like pick up his toe so he's spinning on his heel, or pick up his heel so he's spinning on his toe. I mean, it all happens so fast. Again, these are like very polishy suggestions, just my 2 cents and what I wanted to point out to you. There's a couple, I mean, you have to go through this with a fine-tooth comb to get all the intersections, but you know, and some of it is just rig stuff. But as I was framing through, there's you know, there's just a few I can point out to you. One I think was in this here. And then it's always tricky when we lose like the lower half of the face there. Maybe that's something to avoid rotating down quite so far. So like here we still see that that color differentiation of his top and bottom face. And then like in here, there's going to be some intersections in there. I mean, again, these are polishy things that you do not see if you are just watching it straight. Here's another one here, straight through. So it's up to you whether you want to like spend the time and go back and do stuff like that. But you know, there were just things as I was framing through that I noticed, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned it. Yeah, this one here, I feel like because it's one of those like pauses in the momentum, could be even more of a break for us to like really read him. So cool. It's just so fun to frame through your work. And one other detail, and again, I don't know if your rig allows for it, but if it has any kind of like squash ability in the feet, like for areas like this, or you know, like when he jumps down and we get that like really, you have like so much great secondary action and all of these pieces that are on his body. If there's any way to like squash the feet a little bit so you get you know, you get that like flat contact there. You could even, again, I don't know if this would mess with your rendering, but you could even like push them through the floor a tiny bit so we feel that you know, that really flat pressing of when like the flesh is kind of moved out of the way by whatever it's contacting. So there's you know, there's like the foot compression, and then you could probably add like a tiny, you might have some in here already, you could add like a tiny bit of splay in the toes for some of these moments where he's like really you know, like in here he's like really pushing down on his feet in this section because he's about to jump off. And then here too, like this is like the main one, but yeah, it's hard to see because of the motion blur, but yeah. It's probably something you are already doing, but you know, the flat foot contacts and the splay of the toes are always a nice touch for things like that. And I think that is all of the little polish that I'm seeing in here. It's like it's just so well done. I love all the arcs that you have in with this like extra cool effect with the the slicing, and I love that the pizza box is on his back the whole time. You probably have more intersections in here, but it's not something that you really see watching it in real time. Cool. So again, it's been so much fun to look at this shot and look at your work. I'm so pleased for you that this is in the shape that it's in, and that you won the AnimChallenge. Again, I think it was so well deserved. I used to watch the Ninja Turtles when I was little, so it's fun to like reminisce a little bit and get that feeling in there again. And you really did. You captured so much about it. And there's like, again, the dynamics in your shot, both in the, playing things to camera, and the slowdowns and the speed ups, and it really feels like a really nice like sequence dance that you've put together here. So I think you should feel so proud of this. And the little polishy things in there were just my 2 cents and my suggestions, but you don't have to take those. I think it looks amazing the way that it is, and it's been my privilege to look at this with you. So thank you so much, and best of luck. Bye.